Hey friends, welcome back. Get to leave work early today, so it's still light outside. The sun's shining. It's beautiful out, and I am happy. I'm especially happy and excited because there are things a-brewing that I am just super excited to get going. Like Chris's business, we had a meeting today, and that went well, and it just seems like things are just rolling right along. Our refinance is still in the works. We're just waiting on the underwriting team to approve the appraisal and all of that, but we're on track for, December to refinance the house, which will help us pay off over $25,000 worth of debt. We made a video on that. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And so today I just want to talk about how you can take risks and turn those risks into rewards. And I know a lot of people don't like risk. I myself don't like risk particularly. In fact, I didn't in the past, at least. Actually, risk is kind of the culmination of two things that people fear most, and that is the unknown and change. Change and the unknown. People fear those things. They don't like them. They make you uncomfortable. And that's exactly what risk is. It's where change and the unknown just kind of get married and go off and have babies. But the thing is, there is risk in everything that you do. There's risk in not taking risk. For example, you could rent a house the rest of your life and you have no risk involved in handling that property. But you do have risk that the property owner will someday sell it. You have risk that your family will get bigger and that you will outgrow it and have to move somewhere else. So it doesn't matter what you do. If you think you're playing it safe, you're taking some sort of risk in every action. So my thinking right now is, why not take those risks and turn them into rewards? For instance, I used to take a look at risk and run the other way. And for a long time, I did that because we were already on shaky ground financially. And by risk, I mean financial risk right now. Although this probably applies to any kind of risk. But in 2016, I got the job where I'm working now, and I you have to stop by a train, so I have plenty of time to talk. Anyway, I got the job where I'm working now, and we were not doing the best financially. We went on a vacation, and we ended up running out of money for several reasons. It's probably a whole other story I could tell you. But we ran out of money. There was just no money left. We had no credit limit. We had no cash in our accounts that we could draw into, and that was it. I mean, we were just done. Fortunately, we were on vacation with our in-laws who helped us out and carried us through the end of our vacation. And that was a huge wake-up call to me, and we started doing things very strictly by Dave Ramsey's book. And by very strictly, I mean strictly for an average of strict, because my husband is the spender between the two of us, and I have an easier time saving. And so I'm willing to live on nothing, and he's not. He likes to enjoy life and be comfortable and, have a quality of living that's worth having. And there's something to be said for both sides of that coin, I think, for sure. And so for a long time, we took zero risks as far as our finances were concerned. We made a budget. We've been living off that budget, same style of budget, for 5 years now, and it has worked out really well for us. We are neither wealthy nor not wealthy. We are not poor. We can put food on our table. We've moved into a house over the last couple of years. I mean, just there is something to be said for budgeting. But now I realize, a little bit further down the road, now that we are not on shaky financial ground, now that we have been stable for a few years, that there is opportunity for us to take a little more risk. So, a few risky, quote unquote, risky things that we have in the works are Chris's business right now. That is a risk. We don't know if it's going to do well, but it's something that he wants to do and something that we're willing to put our money into because we have faith that he will make it work. He will find a way to make it work. It's risky, but we feel like the risk is worth the reward. Now, we could not do it. We could just stay at our jobs for the rest of our lives. There's little risk in that, except your employer might, one day fire you, or you might go out of business for some reason. But all in all, it's safer than starting your own business, especially in the food industry like he is. But for him, the quality of life is not there. It's not what he wants to do with the rest of his life. And I understand that. And the risk is worth the reward to us. And not only is the quality of life prospectively better, but the income is prospectively better, because when you own the business, you have all the worries and cares that go along with owning the business, but you also reap all the rewards of owning the business, including tax breaks and all of that. So that's just one example, and I know not everybody is going to go out and own their own business, although these days it seems like everybody has a business of some kind. But that is just one example of how taking a mitigated risk can earn you something of value, whether it's your quality of life, some of your time back, or just money. Now, other risks, financial risks, are hard to take because we get comfortable and we like to spend money and we like to look wealthy, and you buy things that look cute and pretty and buy things that make us feel like we're living a good life. But those things are not going to make you wealthy. There's no risk in buying things, is there? You buy it, you've bought it, it's yours, and unless it breaks, it's going to stay in the same condition and be useful to you. But I have no idea where I was going with that, honestly. How to turn your risks into rewards. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is kind of change your mindset about risk. And that's kind of where I am now. I went from a mindset of risk is bad. I do not want to take risks. And now, having gone through some phases of life that are risky and being rewarded for it, I feel like my mindset has changed a little bit. I'm willing now to take more risks. For example, our house. We are refinancing our house because it has gone up in value. At the time, I didn't want to buy a house. 3 years ago when we bought our house, I thought we weren't financially ready because we were very strict. And we were not in a place where we had any kind of down payment. And it was a risk taking on a mortgage because it was so much higher than the rent we were paying. But here we are 3 years later, still paying the mortgage, and our house has gone up in value. So now we get to refinance and use the risk of having bought a home on the market and use that reward of that risk in order for our personal gain, which is paying off over $25,000 in debt. So the first thing you've got to do is change your mindset from being scared of risk to risk is not all that bad. And I'm not sure if there's another way to do that other than just experiencing it. I mean, once you go through something that gets all the fears out of the way, that rewards you for it, I think you have a little bit more willingness to go along with it. Next, you got to understand what kind of risks you're willing to take. There are different levels of risk. I mean, you can go from some very safe risks, like that house you were renting. There's still risk involved with it, to, day trading, which is, as I understand it, very risky, where it just has to, you have to understand where you are on that spectrum and how much money you'd be willing to lose and over what period of time you'd be willing to lose it. So for the example of our house, it's not a very risky investment. All in all, you can look at the history of the housing market, and housing prices go up in general. I know there are certain exceptions to that rule on certain years, but in general, housing prices on the market go up. Same with the US economy and the stock market. In general, the economy makes profit in the stock market as a whole. So if you are now willing to take some risks, you have to find out what kind of risks you're willing to take. And once you figure that out, the next step is to start. Take one risk. For instance, our home again. Refinancing our house is a risk. Our house could go down in value, but I'm willing to bet on the fact that our house will go up in value after this refinance. So I'm okay with using that cash to pay down some of our debt because I'm betting on the fact that our house will go up in pricing over the next little bit. Now, if you're not comfortable with risks and you think all risks are created equal, I just have to say that it's not like playing the lottery. You know, the lottery with the little balls, and one little ball goes up into there out of, however many hundreds are in the tank. And that's not at all what these types of risks are. These types of risks are more like, sure, there might be hundreds of balls in there, but you have the ball that fits the hole, and the rest of the balls are probably too big and probably won't make it in there. So now that you know you have a better chance, there might be your ball and 5 other balls that fit into the little slot tube that sucks up the ball for the lottery. Now that you know you have a better chance, instead of 1 in 100 chance, you have 1 in 5 chances or 1 in 6 chances. That's a pretty good risk. So if you understand what you're getting into, you can take risks and turn them into rewards. And over the long run, probably not suffer very many losses. Anyway, that's it. And that's why it's important to be financially educated, which I also made a video about. Check that out if you're interested in that. And that is all for today. So I will check with you later. Have a good day. Bye.